how to not get scammed at the Santa Cruz Airport in Bolivia. I don't think that that's a good title for this because I think things are a little bit better here. Let me tell you what I know that can save you some money. Okay, it's definitely easier than the La Paz Airport in some ways. Okay, so these taxis that work for the syndicate, as always in Bolivia, they're gonna charge the most, okay? So if you're not rich, you don't like to just, spend money just because, here's a few tips, okay? So these guys, I just asked, they charge 50 Bolivianos to take you to to downtown Santa Cruz, okay? Now this particular syndicate, I don't know if you can negotiate with them. When I asked the guy how much to take me to downtown, he said he kind of hesitated, and then he said 50. So then I was like, well, that almost leads me to believe that maybe they will negotiate. So I don't know, because all taxi syndicates are different. Now what you can do, you can walk over here. So you got some of these taxi cab drivers over here, they charge less. I'm pretty sure one of these guys over here told me a minute ago that for 13 Bolivianos he would take me to downtown. Okay, now then you also have a few other options. So you got this bus right here, all right, and it looks like it is 650, or if it's at night it's 10. Okay, so that's a decent price there. All right, so you got the bus. Now if you have a lot of bags, that bus, you're probably not going to be able to get on with a lot of the bags. You'd have to pay for extra seats. And if you put your bags on a seat, then you pay that, right? Now there's another option that you have here, which is Yango. It's kind of like Uber, and they have pretty good prices. Yango, look into it. It's a really good deal. We've used it multiple times in different areas, not particularly here, but yeah, so Yango, it's spelled Y-A-N-G-O. That's a really good way to get around if you want to pay a little bit for convenience but not pay too much like a taxi. Hope that makes sense. That's kind of the in-between way of getting around, right? And then of course outside of the airport, you also have the option of like these buses right there. Those run around the city, all over the city. But the thing with those is they'll take longer than a Yango sometimes, depending on where you're trying to go. Because if you have to get on one bus to get to another bus and get on another, then you're taking a less direct route, right? But that is usually going to be the cheapest way to get around the city once you're in the city. Now, another thing too about that is if you're not familiar with Santa Cruz, then you're going to have to ask. You're gonna have to ask people, hey, what bus do we need to get on to get to such and such place? So, that's time consuming. So, you got different options. I don't know the Santa Cruz Airport as much as I know the La Paz Airport. I know I've been here a few times, but yeah. Oh, and one other little detail about arriving to the airport in Santa Cruz, all right? So some people would prefer to just walk. Like if you can walk to, like I talked about in the La Paz Airport video, right? So some people, if you can just walk to a main road and go get some public transportation, most people, not most people, I'm saying, sorry, a decent amount of people would like to do that, especially like budget travelers and stuff like that. If you're just here for the adventure. Now, can you do that? Technically, yes, but I wouldn't recommend it. Not for any danger reason, but you're gonna have to walk about a mile to get to buses that charge like a cheap amount, right? So of course these buses right here are a little bit more expensive because they're taking you out of the airport, right? But if you want to walk, you'd have to actually, I don't know, there's fences all around, so you'd have to find out where to walk. You might have to go all the way around. I'm not too sure about where you can walk out, but the thing is, regardless, even if it's a straight shot, you're gonna have to walk about a mile to get to the main road, and that's not even in a city. That you see, if you look at the map, look at Google Maps, you're gonna see the airport is outside of the city. All right, so it's not like you can just, you're gonna be in the city. You're gonna just get to the main road, and then the buses that pass by on the main road, there's a lot of them, but then you have to go into the city, assuming you're actually trying to get to the actual city of Santa Cruz, right? unless you're going to some village or something like that, or some little town. In that case, you probably have someone that you know here, and this doesn't even apply to you. I think most people are going to be going probably directly to the city at first, at least, right? So that's the thing. So can you walk out of the airport? You can. Oh, and another detail about it too is you have to remember, Santa Cruz is hot, La Paz is cold. So La Paz, walking out of the airport, first of all, you're not having to walk as long of a distance, all right? But also it's cold. So even if you're carrying a couple bags and you're walking, you're like, oh man, I'm gonna start sweating. You might not even sweat, because in La Paz, it's almost always cold. And matter of fact, I'm saying La Paz because that's the airport, but you're really landing in El Alto. If you're flying into the international airport for La Paz, it's in El Alto, which is even colder. So it's almost always gonna be cold. Here, it's burning up. This is like Texas in the summer most of the time here in Santa Cruz, okay? So that's the thing.